Hey friends, it's Missy again. Thanks so much for stopping by today. I have another new layout to share for the Paige Evans design team, and I'm going to be using Paige's Wonders collection. And I'm going to start with this beautiful yellow pattern paper. I love it so much. It's paper number 14, and I'm going to use one of Paige's new cut files. It's called Sun. And I chose this paper when I saw this cut file because I wanted that beautiful circle pattern in the middle to be the middle of the sun. I don't know, the vision popped into my head when I saw the cut file, and then I was flipping through the pattern papers, and I thought, I need to make a sun out of this paper. So that's where this layout is going to begin. And I have a pool photo here that's got a lot of really soft light blue in it. And so that's where we're going to go. And as I was playing around with it, I thought, I kind of want to make a layered sun. So I sorted through the pattern papers again and found this other yellow pattern paper, number 1. It's got those mandalas on the other side. So I cut the sun again, and then I'm going to layer that piece kind of a little bit crooked underneath the first paper, just so it looks a little bit double vision kind of. And then somehow I'm going to arrange the sun on the background. I don't know if I'm going to make it on the side, run it off the page, put it in the middle. I have no idea. So yeah, we're just going to start to play around with it and go from there. I'm going to use thick, smooth, white cardstock for the background because I want to make my own background using some blue shimmers because I want to kind of create a sky behind the sun. So this is Art Basics Finnabair Clear Gesso, and I'm going to smooth that on this cardstock using my little 2-inch silicone brush there. You can use whatever you have that will scrape gesso on. It doesn't have to be a brush like this. I used to use like old gift cards or credit cards, things like that. Anything with a sharp edge will work. Let that dry, and then I'm going to smooth the paper out because it did kind of curl up a little bit on the ends, but nothing major. And then I'm going to get to spraying. Now, when I tend to say I'm going to make a color wash background, and what I mean by that is I just want a nice big blue area on the background. I don't want it to look perfect. I'm not trying to color the entire cardstock, but I want this to kind of mimic a sky behind the sun. And since the sun is so big, then I need a bunch of the background to be blue. So I used Jenny B Blue, that's the name of that blue spray, spritzed it with water, and then I just picked the paper up and turn it this way and that. I use my fingers, I use a brush, and I'm just kind of letting it run all over the place. And I love the effect of that. I think it looks really cool where you can see it kind of streaking in a couple of areas, and then it pulls up in a couple of other areas. It's just an interesting way to kind of get some color on your background. Now I decided to add in another color. This is also a shimmers called Snow Wayman, just to add a little bit of variation to the color. And then I'm going to continue to just move it around with my hands, the brush. And I want a lot of the color to be in the top half of the background, well actually probably the top 3/4, and then kind of thin out into more of a narrow shape as it comes down below the sun and where the photo is going to go. So yeah, I'm just going to keep playing with it. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. I do want some of the white paper to continue to show through, and this is what I'm talking about. You can see how it just sort of ran where it wanted to go, and then it kind of gets thinner as it gets to the bottom. And I love how that looks. And I think it looks kind of like a sky, but it also matches the water in the pool photo. So we're going with a lot of light blue here. I'm going to take some time and do a little bit of white splattering here. This is just white acrylic craft paint. It's nothing fancy, nothing expensive. I just get my brush really wet to add a little bit of water to the paint, and then that makes it easier to splatter. And I think the effect of this is really, really cool. I'm going to roll my paper towels over it just to dab it up a little bit, and it just kind of softens things up and adds a little bit of a marbled effect in a couple of areas. And I do this a couple times through. If you don't dab it up right away, it's going to dry more visible versus, you know, dabbing it up. And you can see here what I'm talking about. I let some of these just dry without dabbing it up, and you can see the splatter effect there. I think I'm going to do the sun a little bit off to the side there, since I want my photo to be on the right side, because if you look at the photo, she's kind of over to the right side of the photo. There's more empty pool area to the left of her. And since she's kind of got her head tilted to the left, I want her kind of looking across the page, if that makes any sense. So that's why I wanted the photo situated on the right. So that means that I want the sun kind of over to the left to give the photo some more room on the right. And I know that's a lot of left and right talk, but it will make more sense once the design gets going. All I'm doing here is gluing down the two circle edges with the sun's rays. And like I said, I want them a little offset so you can see the bottom layer around the edges of the top layer. And then I ruffled up the edges of the circle, the main part of the sun, and I'm going to cut some adhesive foam so I can pop that up off the page a little bit, because I love dimension, and I feel like the sun popping off the page is going to just make it look even better. And then I'm going to get to work on the photo. I'm going to add a little bit of white tissue paper behind it to start. And this is just something I like to do to start my layering process. I like that it's kind of easy to manipulate and tear, and it just gives a little bit of a subtle layer behind the photo to kind of help separate it from the background. I'm going to go ahead and glue down the main part of the sun. And I love that pattern paper. That yellow is so pretty. I never thought, when I first saw that paper, I never thought I'm going to make a sun out of that one day. But here we are making a sun. I don't know. Sometimes ideas just pop into my head when I least expect it, and I just have to go with it, because if I don't, it'll keep bugging me until I do. So at this point, I'm looking for things to layer behind the photo, and I'm actually going to use quite a bit from paper number 12, and that's the paper here with all these tags. I cut one piece of a tag that's white and yellow, little teeny tiny squares pattern on there that I put behind the photo, and then I want to use this tag behind the photo, but I don't want to cover up those beautiful butterflies, so I'm going to cut those out and then just use the outer portion of the tag with the yellow, and it's got light blue going around the edges. And then I found in the ephemera die cuts a couple pieces that I might try to use. I wasn't sure what other colors I wanted to incorporate. There's paper 12. But I found this from the ephemera die cuts, this mandala. It's actually a journaling spot, but I liked the fact that it had light blue and orange on it, and I thought orange would be a pretty color to add to this, very summery and bright. So I cut out this orange and yellow butterfly from that tag and thought, well, maybe I'll make this work somewhere. The problem is I've got so much yellow going on already. I feel like anytime I try to add something else yellow, it's just yellow overkill. So I put that butterfly aside and start to work with some other things. I thought, what would it look like if I mixed in some pink? So I cut this part of a tag out and thought that I would layer that behind the photo. And I like it, I wasn't trying to go with so many colors on this, but I like the addition of the pink. So we're going to use that as a layer. And then I'm going to start to sort through stickers. These are the sheets from the 8-page sticker book. These are the 6x12 cardstock stickers. And now I'm looking for things that are yellow, pink, blue, or orange. And I like that Daydreamer sticker. I just want to keep everything close because I'm undecided on what to use. This is the part of the layout where I just start to play around with things and see how they look. I decided to go through the 6x8 paper pad and layer in some orange, since I do want to use some orange. And I found that beautiful orange paper with the metallic gold dots on it. I'm going to use a sliver of that peeking out from the edges of the photo there. And it's got gold on it, so thumbs up for me. I love me some gold, especially on a summer page, so we're going to go with that. And I like that these colors are just kind of peeking around the photo. They're a contrast to the blue, and since I've got the same color sky in the background as I do in the pool photo, these layers help separate the photo from the background because they're kind of the same color. So, I've got a lot of yellow going on. I've got a lot of blue going on. I'm going to cut another butterfly. This one is mostly orange, and it's got gold foiling on it. It's from the 6x8 paper pad. I'm going to see if I can make that work somewhere. And I have room on the left side of the photo there to layer some bits and pieces on top of the photo. So I'm going to do that with these butterflies here. I just punched a hole in the edge of that tag because I'm eventually going to put some cord in there to finish that off. I'm going to make some die cuts out of these stickers here. I'm going to use this pink bird because I thought we're using some pink. Let's see if this pink bird will look okay. And I wasn't sure if I was going to use it at first because it's a really dark pink. And my intention when I started this page was to keep everything light. You know, the yellow is really light. Even though it's bright, it's still a light yellow. And then the background is light. The photo is light. So I wasn't sure how that dark pink would go. But for now, we're going to try it and see how it goes. I do want to use that Daydreamer sticker, but I'm not sure where to stick it yet. So I'm going to put it on some cardstock and then cut it out. I put a couple of these little banners on there too. I thought I might use those somewhere. I don't wind up using those. I just could not find the right spot for them, but they're there. They're ready to go just in case. And I took a break and came back and thought, I've got a sun, I've got a sky. What is missing? Clouds. You know, I love me some clouds on a summery, sunny sky page. So I'm just going to use some scrap cardstock here and just kind of wing it and cut them out. And my thought was to kind of put them on top of the sun there, but then once I put them out, I thought it's too much. I want that pattern to show on that paper. I don't want to cover it all up. So I'm only going to use 3 clouds, and I'm going to kind of cluster them over to the right so they're above the photo and they're not covering up too much of that sun, because I felt like they were competing with that white pattern on the yellow. And I wanted that pattern to show, because that's, you know, the main thing that I wanted to use this paper for was for that beautiful pattern. So I'm going to just put these little clouds over to the right. And all I'm doing here is adding some shading to them with a gray gelato. And I'm ruffling up the edges with my little edge distresser there. Gelatos are awesome. They're kind of like a cross between lipstick and an oil pastel. You just kind of scribble them on like you would a crayon, and then they smudge really, really easily. I just dab my finger into some water, and now the clouds have a little bit of more of a depth, you know, a little bit more of a realistic look than just stark white. So I'm going to glue those down. And I'm glad that I did that. I like that effect. And I still have plenty of sun visible without it being covered up with too many things. All right, so we're going to move on to thread. I'm going to add in that before I start to glue things down. This is orange. I went with orange under the little title there on the left. And this is nothing fancy. I get asked a lot what kind of thread I'm using. It's the Coats brand. I get it from Walmart in the sewing section. It's just your basic sewing thread. I think they're like $2 a spool. So yeah, it's nothing fancy at all. I just use it for pops of color and texture. You know, it's just one of those things that I feel compelled to do on my layouts, and I don't even know why. I just like how it looks. So I'm going to go with orange on the left, some yellow on the bottom, and then this is just a piece of twine or cord, whatever you want to call that stuff. I have a big roll of that, and I like to use that in my tags to kind of finish them off. Sometimes I do a knot, sometimes I do a bow. This time I'm just going to do a little knot there, but I like how that looks. And I almost wasn't sure of the yellow thread at the bottom because, like I said, we got a lot of yellow going on, and I did not want to over yellow the page, but I'm going to be adding some stuff on top of it, so it's going to work. I did want to pop the photo up so the height of the photo matches the height of the sun since it's popped up. So I'm going to pop the right part of that up since the left part is kind of overlapping the sun. And again, I'm just using adhesive foam. That's Kids Craft foam that you can get at Walmart and cut in any shape you want. I love that stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and glue that down and start to make things permanent. I do decide to use these puffy stickers, but I'm going to make, I think I did this in one of my most recent layouts as well, make a little banner out of these little half circle shapes. I'm going to go with pink and orange, and alternate because I feel like I said, I didn't want to use any more yellow down there. I got plenty of yellow. So I'm going to put these on some cardstock and then cut them out so they have a little bit of a white border. and then use this as a little scallop border underneath the photo, and it's going to bring some of those colors down there. So this is the part where I committed to using the darker pink because I felt like it looked okay, and it's going to go on top of that yellow thread, so it's going to sort of break that up and make it not so much yellow. And then I'm going to finally decide what's going to go here on the left of the photo. I'm going to use the big blue butterfly, the Daydreamer sticker as a title, and then the orange butterfly kind of underneath it. And I tried to make sure everything was, although it's on top of the photo, it's far enough away from her face to where it's not crowding her. She has plenty of open area to breathe. And I know that sounds funny and goofy because it's just a photo, but I always like to give my photos life on the page, give them, you know, things to look at on the page if they're looking a certain direction, or in this case, you know, she's not really looking across the page, but she's got some room to move around. She's not about to get suffocated by butterflies and stickers. Okay, I know I'm talking crazy. I know this is crazy. I'm oh geez, let's just continue with the process. We don't need to go into an analysis of a human quality on the paper. I know that sounds crazy, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let's move on before I get really crazy. I'm going to pop that little bird up, and then I'm going to use this little banner sticker that says today, and it matches the light blue color perfectly, so I'm going to make that work. And then I'm going to cut this little pink heart out of this ephemera die cut. And I thought I wanted to jazz up the cloud area by adding something. It was just so yellow and white and plain. So I thought about tucking some hearts in there, and I only went with the one heart. I tried to use a sticker heart there from the 12 or the 6x12 stickers, but it was just too much. Try to use a blue one. No on that. Go back to paper 12. That paper has, I think I've used something from paper 12 on almost every layout that I've made with this collection, whether it be a tag or a title or a little word phrase, something or other. So that's what I'm going to use here. There's that one tag that has all these words on it. So I'm going to cut those out and see if I can make some of those work here and there because they're small. And I've got that one that says happy. This one says memories. It's going to go somewhere. And you know, I hadn't even thought of adding anything to the clouds, but the more I played around with these little words, the more I liked it. And I felt like it was a good way to bring the other colors, like it was a good way to bring some pink up there and just give the clouds a little more interest and depth. I like that little heart peeking up from behind that cloud there. I like how that looks. I'm going to pop memories up on top of that cloud there. And I think that's orange, so that gives a little pop of orange up there. And I'm going to leave the whole left side of that sun. I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't want to put anything on top of it because I want that pattern to show. And I just knew when I cut that on my Cameo that I was going to get it crooked and it was going to look all wonky and off center. But surprisingly, it cut perfectly. So I was very pleased with that. Because you know that's happened. It's happened to me quite a lot when I think something is going to cut on point and it's crooked because my paper, you know, came off the mat or the mat jumped or something happened. But it worked. I was so happy. I'm just adding some more little stickers in here. Got that little butterfly over to the right. And then this is a little, it's tiny. It's a little pink circle with a little gold heart. And I'm going to use that because it's that darker pink color. And I felt like since I've got the border down at the bottom with the scallops and then that bird with the darker pink, I needed just a little pop of that darker pink up at the top. And then we need the darker blue color that is in that butterfly. So I didn't have any thread in all my thread stash. I know I did not have that color blue. So when that happens, I mix two colors together and it pretty much does the job. So we're going to use some thread to do that up at the top here. And I'm just going to kind of try my best to wedge it underneath the sun and that cloud so it gives a little pop of that blue color up there. And I like how that looks. I like that little cluster. Still going to go through more stickers and see if I need something else. Going to make sure all that is glued down. And then I needed something at the bottom. So I decided to try yellow, even though I thought, do we already have enough yellow? Let's see how it looks. So I'm going to use happy, and I like how it looks. I didn't know if I wanted to add another word or what. Wasn't sure, because I like daydreamer for the title, you know, and I've got a lot of words going on. We've got smiles, memories, happy, daydreamer, and now I've got another happy. I'm going to make sure it's straight, and I am going to glue this down because I'm putting this on top of gesso, on top of shimmers, and on top of the yellow thread. Wasn't sure what else to add, so when all else fails, that's when I'm going to add splatters, because I wanted to add more blue splatters anyway. And when I get stuck on one point and I don't know what else to do, I just move on to the next thing that I know I definitely want to do. And that was add some of the Jenny B blue splatters. That was the first color that I used on the background. So we're going to go back and do that. Took a break, let that all dry, and then this is what we've got so far. You can see the dimension there, the effect of popping things up off the page with adhesive foam. Yeah, the only thing I think I would have done before I glued this down, if I would have thought about it, is stitch around the edge of the sun. I didn't even think about that, but that would be a cool effect for some texture as well. But I didn't do it, and I think it's okay. All I'm going to do now is add a little bit more pink around the edges of the layer. So I'm going to go back into the 6x8 paper pad, and this is the exact same paper as the orange with the gold dots, except it's pink. And that's that darker pink color. So I felt like since I had that in a couple spots, I might as well add it around the photo. And then I'm going to add another bit of a tag, again from paper 12. And I'm going to layer this in to the right where the yellow tag is, because I felt like I wanted a pop of that darker blue over on that side of the page. So we're going to do the same thing here, add the cord through it. Even though it's not a full tag, you're not going to know that because it's just kind of tucked under there, and it could be a full tag. That's the beauty of layering, is you could just use a little piece of something and it gives the effect of the whole thing. And only the people watching this video know that, right? Yes, we know the tips and tricks on how to fake people out when they think, oh, did you use an entire sheet of paper for that? Nope, it just looks like I did. You know, that type of thing. I've done that many, many times. We're still not done with the butterflies. I'm going to cut another one out from the 6x8 paper pad to kind of bring a pop of pink over here to the right and give that little tiny orange butterfly a friend. And this is when I, you know, think about Bob Ross giving his trees little friends, because that's what he always did. I never did give the bird a friend. The bird is all by himself, and oh well, he'll be okay. That's gold glitter spray that I sprayed there, or that I splattered down. And then I found the perfect little thing to add at the bottom. I cut this from a die cut. It says Good Day. It was at the bottom of that die cut that I just showed you. I fussy cut it out. I'm going to pop it up. And it was the perfect addition down here at the bottom because it's blue. It brings that darker blue down there. And it's a different font than Happy. And I just like how that looks. I love mixing and matching fonts like that. It's such a cool effect. And then we're almost done. I'm going to add the journaling down here at the bottom, draw my lines in, and then I'm going to use a metallic gold pen. And the only thing that I did off camera was I added some sequins around that little mandala around the corner of the photo there. But that's the final layout, and I love how this turned out. I think it's so cute. I love the colors. It makes me happy because summer pool photos, layouts are my favorite to make. They include my favorite colors, blues, pinks, yellows, and oranges, and they just make me happy. They're just bright and fun. And yeah, this all started with me looking at the sun cut file and that yellow paper, number 14, and then here we go. This is what we came up with. So I took a lot of close-ups here. You can see all the imperfections that come along with making a layout. You know what I'm talking about. The bumps and bruises in the page as it warps, like right there on the sun, but it's okay. It still looks pretty, I think. But let me know if you have any questions. I love how this turned out. I love putting it together. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to link the Wonders collection down below. I'm going to link the cut file down below, all the things that I use, so if you want to get your hands on those. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for watching.